Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back in with another sequence video. So I found this in 1 Kings 17 and 18. And so the central person, in this is Elijah. And so um, I sort of perk up when I see any reference to him because he's one of the two witnesses in Revelation 11. So there could be some, foreshadowing as well in the last days. And then we see that here. It's absolutely incredible. So 1 Kings 17, 18, and the Lord listened to the voice of Elijah, and the life of the child came into him again, and he revived. And so this is somebody whose death passing into life. This is symbolic for salvation in the last days for God's elect. And Elijah took the child and brought him down from the upper chamber into the house, from the upper chamber into the house, okay, into the altar. Revelation 11:1. This is where the elect are going to be taken and them that worship therein, okay, and delivered him to his mother. And so deliverance, okay. And Elijah said, "See, your son lives." And so this is, I wouldn't even say coded language, but Christ returning in the upper chamber with Elijah, one of the two witnesses, and then deliverance of the elect. Okay. And see, your son lives. Okay. Ultimately, these are the sons of God. Verse 24, and the woman said to Elijah, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in your mouth is truth." And so God's actual prophets, okay, needless to say, this shouldn't be a big shocker. They have real power. Okay, they're not clowns, and they don't just make up stuff. Whatever, maybe 50-50 and all that kind of stuff. That's in verse 24. 44, and the word of the Lord in your mouth is truth. Okay, and so only God's elect have the truth, and they can only worship God in spirit and in truth. So that's a reference to Christ returning with Elijah and Moses as well, and then taking the elect away. Okay, now we're going to have a time of great tribulation, and so that's reference here in 18:666. Okay, 1 Kings 18. After many days, the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the third year, saying, "Go, show yourself to Ahab, and I'll send rain upon the earth." So Elijah went to show himself to Ahab. Now the famine was severe in Samaria. So in modern day, this is America, and that's one of the plagues in Revelation 16 and Revelation 18:8. A food shortage because God's going to attack the wildlife, in the water. And so, just know that. Verse 6, so they divided the land between them to pass through it. They divided the land. This is in verse 6. And so this is the time of two people going in two different directions. Like we're going to read here. Ahab went into one direction by himself, and Obadiah went into another direction by himself. And so this is God splitting two manners of people. Okay. Ahab and Obadiah, who's righteous. Okay. And so symbolic in the last days is God sifting the rest of the people on earth for the mixed multitude. Okay. They're from all nations. And so that's in verse 6. Okay. 18:6. So this is the time of the Great Tribulation and sifting. Next, in verse 13, Jezebel killed the prophets of the Lord. And so in the last days, this is the entire God's left-hand side, but definitely America, the beast, will rise up and then kill, Moses and Elijah. And so there's a reference to that in verse 13. And then their dead bodies are going to lie in the streets for 3.5 days and then be taken away. And so now we're going to have references to Christ returning with his elect, with power, and to destroy, guess what? Fire, real fire. Verse 31, Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the son of Jacob. So I want people to understand these stones and rock of salvation is coded language for these UFOs, which are going to look like, quote, rocks in the sky. Okay, if you watch Independence Day and those kind of movies. So this is coded reference for Christ returning with his elect. Okay, the 12 tribes of Israel. Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be your name. And so this is the elect, the Israelites. Verse 38, then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt offering and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and said, the Lord, he is God, the Lord, he is God. Okay, this is not a fair fight in the last days. And Elijah said to them, seize the prophets of Baal and let them not one of them escape. And they seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook of Kishon and slaughtered them there. Okay, and so this is Christ returning to destroy. Okay, and this destruction is with real fire, okay, in his body and soul. Verse 44, not a coincidence, this is in verse 44. And at the 7th time he said, behold, a little cloud like a man's hand is rising from the sea. And he said, go up, say to Ahab, prepare your chariot and go down, lest the rain stop you. And so in verse 44, Christ is returning with his elect, and they're going to be raining down fire, okay, to destroy everything on earth at that point. God's entire left-hand side, except the remnant, which he'll protect in the Middle East. Verse 45, and in a little while the heavens grew black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain, okay. Christ is a so-called black man, okay? And with clouds, okay, UFOs. And there was a great rain. And so it's fire that's being brought down. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. Now we have a coded reference to the kingdom in verse 46. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, protecting them. Elijah is obviously one of the two witnesses on God's right-hand side, of course. Him and Moses are at the top of the hierarchy, okay? They're Christ's left and right-hand man, so to speak. And so they're not arguing, oh, can I be on your left or right? It's the same thing, okay? They're not like that, okay? But they have a tremendous amount of power. And then beneath them is the 144,000, okay? And then it's the mixed multitude of all nations, which are sifted out during that time of great tribulation. So this is a very, very powerful spirit, okay? And so 1 Kings 17:18 reaffirms the sequence perfectly. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.